So this would be a part 5 for my vintage paint collection. I know I said in the last one that I probably wouldn't do another one unless one of two things happened. The first thing was I come across an estate sale, and it's a bunch of materials and it's a lot to go over. And number two is the thing that happened is if I come across a vintage Mummy Brown sample. Now I have found that. This would be a Winsor Newton sample. You can see here I'm keeping it in a small coffin. Very fitting for the actual color. So here's the tube. I actually did a video where I had to extract this. It's not in the best of shape. You can see, you see that MMY. You can kind of read it there. It's kind of hard to read. Anyways, it is a Winsor Newton tube. You can see it's leaked all over. It almost looks like tar. That's the paint and oil. It's caked all around the tube. It's not in the best of shape. But the main thing is you can see MMY on the label. The color matches historical descriptions of what I've seen. And this is the set that it came in. So I'm going to go through this box. There's actually a lot of really good stuff in this box. So I'll open that, pull that down. I'm just going to kind of skim through the stuff that doesn't matter as much. Here's an interesting thing here. We got a Windsor White. This doesn't matter as much, but this also shows that whoever originally owned this didn't put this inside the box. So this must have got passed down through generations or sold or something along the lines, because this is like 1960s, I want to say 60s or 70s Winsor Newton. But that mummy tube I just showed you, as well as the rest of the stuff in this box, is around 150 years old or more. So I thought these were kind of noteworthy. These are two little tins that you can put your mediums in. The lid comes off just like that. I'm actually kind of not wanting to sell these things, but they will be included with the box. I will be selling this box, by the way. Some kind of powder. You have this interesting thing here, if I can get it out. All different types of shapes. You got fish and people. There's a bunch of different little designs on there. Of course, you got a number of brushes, a variety of different sizes. Most of them are in pretty bad shape, but there's a few of them that are actually in pretty good shape. Got a little medium container. Got a, I believe, a lead white watercolor. It has the emblem on the bottom. I can't really show it too much right now because the paint is going to literally fall out of the ceramic. So open this. There's actually two sets of paint in here, and this is where I got the mummy tube. Got it from the top section, so just right here you can kind of see the paint's oozed out. So if you watch the other video that I just uploaded, I actually had to extract it from the jar, or from the case. Now you can see here, I'll try to get a close-up of that. It oozed all out. So this right here, this is paint from the mummy tube. So when I sell this, it's going to have this residue in here. And some of it's like kind of dry, but not all the way. There you can see there. This is Mummy Brown on my finger right now. I know that sounds kind of morbid, but that's what it is. And there you go. You could probably scrape that out and make some type of, get some type of paint out of that. So that adds a lot of value to this set. And that wasn't the only rare color in here. In fact, you also had the second rarest color, which would be Indian yellow. It is actually very hard to see this. You can kind of see Indian yellow there. Indian. The yellow is harder to see without a black light. You can see the W for the yellow. And you can see the color too. So yeah, it's a genuine Indian yellow Winsor Newton. There is an emerald green also, but I can't get it out of this case without completely destroying the tube. So there you can see it. There's the emerald green. You can see some of it leaking there. I'm not going to touch that because that is not safe. I should be wearing gloves right now, to be completely honest. And I had planned on it before I started this video, but I started recording and here I am. So I'm just going to roll with it. Just have to wash my hands really good after. So here's a Fields Orange Vermilion, speaking about rare colors. There's actually a few vermilions in here. I believe this is the same thing, or some type of vermilion. So let's see here, what do we have here? Terra Rosa, not necessarily a rare color, but it's a color that a lot of people like, and you can see that label there. This is one of the oldest labels of Winsor Newton, so that's how you can tell this is a very old set. And it's at Rathbone Place. Rathbone Place is their original location. So, since we're still on the first layer here, I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to sell this with the Indian yellow or not. I'm thinking about separating this from the set, because this alone is going to be a high cost item, and it might discourage people from buying this set, because this set itself is going to be very expensive. If I keep this in there, it's going to be extremely expensive, so I might separate the two. The emerald green will be staying, as well as the vermilions and the other stuff. So moving on to section number 2. I'll have to zoom in for this one, because these are stuck in there. Well, the casing is stuck in there. So there you can see, got a Venetian red. Most of the stuff on the bottom is not as noteworthy. It's mostly earth colors. You got a few cadmiums here and there. And you have a few brands that aren't Winsor Newton that are mixed in there. It's mostly Winsor Newton though. There's some lead whites, but they're all hard as a rock. The vermilions are hard too. So that's another thing I want to say about, it's kind of a mixed bag on which ones are soft, hard, or pliable in this set. So you have another watercolor. This one's actually still wrapped. That'd be a Van Dyke Brown, Winsor Newton. So yeah, that's mostly what I could show you from these. So the main attractions are the Indian yellow, which is soft by the way, the emerald green, which is also soft but it is stuck. I'll leave it up to you whether you want to try to remove it, because I feel like you'll destroy the tube, or at least damage it trying to get it out, as well as that residue of that mummy tube that I pulled out. Those are the main attractions. There's a lot of paint in here though, like I said, and it's some of Winsor Newton's oldest paint tube designs. Now moving on to the second part. So as well as art supplies itself, we have a lot of notes from, I would assume, the original owner or one of the original owners. I'm not 100% sure what this is, but it's paper with grid lines and some type of piece of plastic over it. And you've got a lot of little random things like that. Here you have instructions for lustra and hand painting. Copyrighted 1885. I was pretty spot on when I thought about the age of this. If you watch my other video extracting the mummy tube from the box, I consulted a 1886 art supply catalog, so I was pretty spot on with the age. I knew it was probably mid to late 19th century. You got a lot of just like random little, you got some glass pieces. They're kind of indented. I'm not sure what those were used for. We also have a, I'm not 100% sure what this is, some type of catalog, how to obtain the materials. Anyways, it's interesting either way. Yeah. You also have a few unfinished paintings, which small paintings, I thought was actually very interesting. And all this stuff will be included in this set too, all these notes. So here's an actual painting on a board. Looks like a house, tree. I don't know what the palette is for here. They could have been using the mummy in here. I'm not sure. And on the back, I thought this was very nice. Prepared millboard, Winsor Newton. So you actually could see this in my art supply catalog as well. These millboards. These are like their panels that they made. So I think this would be something interesting to either have as a collector's piece, or, I mean, even if you're courageous enough to jump in and finish this painting, you know, how you would like to finish it. Completely up to you. And here's another interesting painting. So it looks like a church. So this is just done on a loose piece of canvas. You can see here. This is one of the earlier examples of canvas. It doesn't look like linen. It looks like cotton canvas, but it's hard to say. This also kind of looks unfinished. But it's very interesting either way. Both of those I would assume are oil. Now here we get into some very interesting stuff as well. Here looks like a sketch for that painting of the church there. And you have handwritten notes too. I'm not going to bother trying to read all that. It's small, cursive. But I'll just have it up there so you can see it. And then here, this also indicates the age of the set. This would be an interior sketch of a room. You can see a grandfather clock on the left, table with a lamp on it. You can see the design of the chair at the fireplace with little tools around it, a painting hanging. I mean, to be honest, these are just beautiful, honestly. This set has a story to tell, and it's very obvious. You can see here we got some perspective drawing, more of the church there. It's kind of hard to see. We also got a face. I don't know if that's the artist. I gotta get this in focus. I don't know if that's the artist or just somebody he was drawing. Let's see here. It folds out to kind of a full body drawing. So that's like a glimpse into the past there. And then another face, which I don't think is the same person. This person looks a little bit heavier. Similar hairstyle though. Short curly hair, so very interesting either way. Like I said, whoever purchased this set is getting all these. So, you know, in my opinion, these are like museum worthy, just for the age of it and the story that this set tells. So I'll show off a few other things that I have that are for sale as well. So here we have a Winsor Newton set. This is a bit smaller, obviously. It's a lot cleaner too. It's a little bit more modern too. I would say this is probably early to mid 20th century. So you got your wooden pallet there, very clean. There's your logo. Opens up. You got a handful of different tubes. I'll just show off the highlights of this set. You got a few in here. You got a McGilp. This is still soft. These are actually kind of hard to find in good condition. This is a painting medium. Good condition. And you got a cobalt blue there. So there's other stuff in there. Got a nice vintage palette knife there. Let's see here. A wooden handle. Your paint mixing thing there. So that's just a quick set there. And we have some vintage American paint too. We got 3 Williamsburg. This is back when he used to, when I say he, I mean Carl, the original owner, before Golden bought the company. We got the handwritten labels, Mars Red Light. I'm not sure what this one is. And Terra Verte, or Verte. Forgive me, I'm probably butchering that, but these are the old tubes for that. This is actually coming as a lot, by the way. You got a Liquitex, cadmium red medium light. I know they're known for making acrylics, but they also used to make oils. And a few other non-vintage paints, various American brands. So that would also be selling as a set. For those watercolor people out there, got a Reeves Artist's watercolor set. Got a variety of colors in here. The main ones to look out for, well, here's some of the more common ones. The main ones to look out for is a cobalt blue and a vermilion. And check out the logo there. Got the Greyhound dog. And these are the artist watercolors, not the student brand. Small set there. You have 2 loose emerald green Winsor Newton, genuine, soft. These are selling individually. I also have a Globe Cobalt Blue. These are American vintage paints. These are actually quite large, to be honest. I have these very fairly priced in my shop, all soft, and most of them are unused. These are actually very interesting, I think. Cobalt blue. Anyways, that's it for the stuff I have for sale. Now I'll just do a brief rundown of all of my legacy collection. Okay, so my legacy collection is basically stuff that I intend on keeping and never selling, or hopefully never selling. And, you know, I don't really have much more to add to this than I already have right here. So, anyways, and the last piece that I really wanted was that vintage mummy brown tube. So, anyways, we'll jump right in. I'll start off with the stuff that is new. So, this isn't paint technically, but I did make paint from it. This is a rock, some type of ochre or sienna or something that I got from the Philippines when I visited with my wife a few years ago. It makes a nice, just light brown color. This is a lapis rock I got in Japan when I visited. We went to a mineral shop. Some nice little smooth lapis stone there. And an interesting, let's stay on topic with Japan. So I also got some Holbein colors when I went. Figured I'm in Japan, I have to get a genuine vermilion. You just have to if you're in Japan. And I got a color that, as far as I know, is only made by Holbein. Ceramic white. It's a Japanese-made pigment. It doesn't even have a pigment code. Strontium titanate, or titanate, I think. Yeah. So, anyways, those are two little things I picked up in Japan. Those aren't vintage, but those are part of my permanent collection. Three other things that aren't vintage are these 3 tubes by Robert Doak. He is, I mean, I guess you could say he's kind of vintage. He's in his 90s and he's been making paint since, I think, the 1970s. Anyways, I was always fascinated by his paints. A lot of the titles and claims, I think, are kind of embellished. You know, Galena Gray. This is obviously not real Galena. Genuine Ivory Black. I think it's more of a hue, most likely. You know, Fra Angelico Blue, which is like a pure ultramarine. Or that's what it's supposed to be. I think it's most likely just like an imitation. In fact, I know that's what it is. So, but just in general, he's kind of a cult classic of New York City. I've always just wanted to grab a few of the paints and, you know, for personal collection purposes. So, there you go. Another small art supply brand that only makes specialized stuff, which would be Groves. Here you have his genuine Asphaltum and his genuine amber varnish. Both very fairly priced, very interesting products. Speaking about amber varnish, this one is it's an antique amber varnish by Blocks. Still usable. You can see there's a solid mass there at the bottom, but